Hi, everyone. Looks like a good amount of us have joined so far. So let's go ahead and kick things off. My name is Jennifer, and I'm so excited to bring you today's webinar titled Leveraging Your Best Marketers, Tips and Tricks on Implementing a Customer Advocacy Marketing Strategy. We're going to cover some great information today, and our panelists are Lauren Lohman, the Director of Demand Gen, and Josue Ledesma, Global Content Marketing Manager. We're going to try to keep this about 30 minutes. So if you have any questions, just feel free to type them in. And if time allows, we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. If we don't answer your question, no worries. We'll follow up via email. We just want to make sure that all your questions are answered. Thanks so much, and I'll hand it off to Lauren.
Great, thanks so much, Jen. So yeah, we're really excited to be here with you today to talk all about customer advocacy. So to kick it off, we're going to just briefly go through what is customer advocacy exactly, why it's important to your marketing, and how it can improve your marketing campaigns. Then we'll look into some brands who rock at leveraging customer advocacy, and then we'll look at how exactly to implement a customer advocacy strategy into your marketing. We'll look at some Trustpilot success stories, and then we'll wrap up with looking at who is Trustpilot if you're not familiar with us. Cool, so what is customer advocacy marketing exactly? And in a nutshell, it's basically letting your customers tell your story through user-generated content. And when you put this in your marketing, the goals of your marketing are still the same. You still want to drive traffic, drive conversion, sales, whatever it might be. But when you're letting your customers tell your story, you're probably going to see a higher conversion rate, more traffic, and just overall a better brand reputation. And customer advocacy can range in delivery. It can look like a lot of different things. You might be most familiar with customer quotes that you're putting on your website, or better yet, reviews that are time-stamped and from a third party are great. Also, video testimonials are increasingly popular. Case studies are super popular for B2B companies as well, and last but not least are social media posts on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, but also maybe on some other consumer destination sites like Quora or other channels that might be more specific to your industry. Great, so I'll pass it off to Josue to talk about why it's important.
Thanks, Lauren. Like Lauren said, my name is Josue, and I'm going to touch briefly on why is customer advocacy important. In reality, traditional advertising just isn't enough anymore. 84% of consumers don't trust advertising anymore. That was actually a key stat from a McCarthy Group research report. And the reason is that we're basically just inundated with advertisements all the time. When we walk around, when we're on public transportation, on social media, on websites, all of these things are really kind of diluting the effect of advertising. So marketers really need to evolve. Implementing a customer advocacy strategy is one of the best ways not only to engage with potential customers, but also helps you build a customer relationship. So you can see that customer advocacy really works both ways in terms of helping you get more customers, but also helping you keep your customers. 50% of small businesses say that having a relationship with their customers is their primary driver of repeat business, and repeat business is essential to keeping a business alive. Having repeat customers, having one customer make multiple purchases and be responsible for a large amount of revenue is a pretty true and tested strategy for the long-term health of a company. Also, customers are really looking at brands who care. The reason why that is that, with the advent of online e-commerce companies and the fact that essentially any company is easily accessible on the internet, you need to find new ways to differentiate yourself. And being a brand that customers trust and feel that care about them is a huge difference maker. 76% of consumers say they view customer service as the true test of how a company values them. That is actually a really surprising stat for me because it shows how much value a customer places on a company and how their relationship with a brand actually matters. Trust and reputation is actually one of the really important aspects of a company now that we're moving really far into e-commerce and digital marketing. Word of mouth, which has existed for a very long time, now has an online presence, and it still matters very much for a company, and it's still the most popular method of recommendations for consumers, and we all know it. We talk to each other and we get movie recommendations, book recommendations, product recommendations. Word of mouth is really compelling and really important, and that also matters on digital channels. Social media is one of the best examples of how customer feedback really plays into an overall strategy. On average, a consumer will look at 10 information sources before making a purchase. Social media is really one of them. You can look at different Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter accounts. You can see what people are saying about companies, what people are saying about specific products, and a lot of companies are also leveraging these social platforms to kind of promote experiences if you're a company that provides a service rather than a product, and this has proven to be really successful. We will touch on that a little later. Customer reviews directly also affect how a company is perceived. 92% of consumers now read online reviews, and 40% of consumers form an opinion of a company by reading 1 to 3 reviews. It really matters what other customers are saying about you. Again, we've talked about this before. Traditional advertising and marketing, which is when a company is talking about themselves, doesn't really work as much anymore. So what really matters is to get an authentic review from a customer who knows, who can tell another prospective customer what they can expect from a company. What can they expect from a product? What can they expect from a service? These things really matter.
Cool. Great. Thank you, Josue. So now let's figure out how you can start to implement customer advocacy in your marketing. I think the best way to do that is to learn from the best. So let's check out some brands who rock customer advocacy. And the first one is Lululemon, a popular activewear line. And what they did was they asked customers to tweet or Instagram photos of themselves exercising or wearing Lululemon clothing with the hashtag #TheSweatLife. And why this worked is, first off, athletic wear and athleisure wear, it's just really popular right now, and people are already posting pictures or videos of themselves working out on Instagram and Twitter quite often anyway. So they started to capitalize on this trend and gave the power to their customers to post these photos, and they started to repost them on their profile, like you see in this picture here, which got a lot of great engagement. And it also pictures real people and real situations, so not photoshopped models that you might be used to seeing in your advertisements. And it just makes it seem more real, and it provides that credibility that people are all consistently looking for a lot of times on social media or from friends and family. And what it brought them was over 2 million followers on Instagram alone, which is really awesome, more sales, and a better brand customer relationship. Another brand that does a great job of this too is actually Coca-Cola, and they're a huge brand. So it's this campaign you might be familiar with, the Share Coke campaign, was hugely successful because it made them just feel more personalized as people started to purchase a Coke with a friend's name on it, share it with them, and upload those pictures to social media with the hashtag #ShareCoke. And why it worked is it helped them connect with consumers again. Again, they're such a big brand, so this was a really unique way to go about doing this. And just reminded customers why they love Coke so much and that it is a social brand. It's something that you can share with friends and loved ones. And what it brought them was more followers on social media accounts, had a great buzz effect. There was a lot of media posts about it. It had a big splash with it as well, and more sales. Staples is another huge brand. I think they're about the 3rd largest e-commerce business right now. And they used reviews to, and their overall rating in a variety of different email campaigns. So you can see here they put it in their email marketing, on their website, and Google Shopping, and Facebook. So definitely leveraged customer advocacy across multiple channels. And why it worked is it used their reviews to drive engagement, and again, use that third-party validation to ultimately drive more conversions, more click-through rates on their email, more traffic and engagement from social media, and more sales from Google Shopping. So all around, they did a really great job of incorporating these reviews through multiple channels to ultimately drive more sales. And then IKEA is our last one here too, and again, another great brand that did a good job of also having people post images of their products on social media, and then had the cool concept of creating a catalog just from pictures from their customers. And how it worked, again, so they encourage people to share these posts on social media, again, Twitter and Instagram, and they chose one winner each week, so highlighting a key customer. And they saw a huge increase in social media following, got a lot of great word-of-mouth strategy from this too, and saw more traffic coming to their website in the end, which drove more sales. Great, so I'll pass off to Josue to talk about how you can learn from this and implement a customer advocacy strategy.
Great, Lauren. Those are really great examples, and we can all pretty much learn from each of them to implement a customer advocacy strategy that works. So we have a couple of tips here. The most important one is to get to know your customers, to build a customer relationship. That is absolutely necessary before customers can really advocate for you. And what the most important thing, which we'll get into in a little bit, is also the fact that this customer relationship and continued engagement really drives business insights for you to be better as a business for your customers, which will kind of have its own snowball effect and improve your business overall. So that's why you'd want to involve the whole company. Everybody in most of the departments have a touch point with a customer, whether that's customer marketing, sales, customer support, customer success. So really make sure you're incorporating them in a customer advocacy strategy, because they will be able to provide specific perspective and will be able to help you kind of encompass customer advocacy in a more holistic way. And lastly, you need to make it fun. As you saw from the other examples, many of these campaigns and strategies kind of played into the motivations of customers already. For Lululemon, working out, being healthy, and exercising has its own inherent motivation, so Lululemon really just capitalized on that. For IKEA, people really wanted to showcase how beautiful their homes were using that IKEA furniture, so they were motivated to send a picture of themselves. So really need to think about what's in the customer's best interest, and how you can make it not only fun but easy for them when implementing a customer advocacy strategy. Now, a big part of customer advocacy is actually managing customer feedback. You really want to leverage your best reviews, your best social media posts, but in reality, you might not always get completely happy posts or reviews. So here are a couple of tips to really manage them. Make sure you're paying attention to all your social media channels and really listening to your customers. 3 out of 4 consumers consult social media before buying, so it's really important whether or not a consumer is happy and you're really paying attention to what they're saying and what is being displayed on the social media platform. And what this does is actually really have an overall effect on your entire customer advocacy strategy. So these are the ways, if you implement a customer advocacy strategy, that you can really take customer feedback and turn it into your own marketing. Number one, you're using your customer feedback to stand out from your competitors. If somebody's leaving a review about your company on your social media channel, that review only pertains to your company. So it's nothing any competitor can say. Managing customer feedback and reviews is also a way to engage with your customers. 95% of unhappy customers return if their issue is resolved quickly and efficiently. We've seen that in our own examples. We had a Thrift Books client. They responded to an unhappy customer and really changed around their opinion to the point that that unhappy customer changed their review, went from 1 star to 5 star, and it really exemplified why you should be replying to your customers, but also taking care of what their issues and what their concern is. And that is really showing transparency. If a potential customer is seeing on a social media channel or on a review platform that this company is replying to unhappy reviews and really trying to resolve issues quickly, that will make that potential customer really trust in that company and see, oh, this company really values what we're saying. And once you get all that working, you really have essentially a mini marketing team where you're really taking advantage of actual customers saying good things about you and leveraging that across social media channels, email platforms, even digital marketing, and it really helps in boosting your overall digital marketing performance. So on responding to customer reviews, make sure you're accentuating any positives. You may have 1, 2, or 3-star reviews that say something like, the delivery was quick, but, or they can say something like, the product was great, but. So make sure you are highlighting the positive things they say. Always apologize for anything that may have gone wrong, regardless, or whether or not it was your fault or whether or not you were responsible. You never want to place the blame on the customer. You always really just want to listen to them and understand why it is that they had a problem. So I'll pass it off to Lauren, who will talk about our Trustpilot success stories. They've utilized reviews to really improve their company. Lauren?
Great, thank you. All right, so yeah, our first customer success story here is JustFab, and this is one of my favorite stories. It's all about their Surprise and Delight program. And the mission of this program is to get customers talking about their positive customer experiences on social media and using the hashtag XOJustFab and XOShoeDazzle. And what's really cool about this campaign is it does a couple different things that Josue was mentioning earlier. Is first, they leverage their customer reviews to identify happy and unhappy customers so that they can do a few different things. For happy customers, turn them into customer advocates, and equally important, by identifying these unhappy customers, turn them into happy customers. And the best part about it, of course, is getting a lot of this great content on social media to just extend their reach, drive more traffic to their site, and just improve their overall brand reputation. So they had 3 categories of gift giving, which were pretty cool. So the first one was for, I think, 1- and 2-star reviews. This is an I'm sorry gift. A customer support agent can reach out, resolve their issue, and then offer them one of these different gifts. So maybe a gift card, a handwritten letter, some free products, or rush shipping on their next order. And they saw that this actually drove more reviews that were updated and ultimately more repeat purchases from customers that weren't happy originally. They also have a thank you category where this is for top customers that had 4- or 5-star reviews. They could offer them some of the same gifts above. And they did it just because. So it surprised customers and made them, they weren't expecting a gift, and it was a great way to delight them and, again, drive them or make them into brand advocates. And the last one is these wow experiences. So they kind of went over the top for these customers that left 5-star reviews and were top 10% of spenders. And they gave them these really awesome gifts like VIP treatments, makeovers, a personal assistant for a day. So it was really cool. And then you can actually see an image here, which I thought was pretty neat. This was a thank you customer who shared this on Twitter. And they said, if you don't know already, I adore JustFab, and thanks for sending me the free stuff. And it got about 5 likes, and there's so many different examples of this. If you check out their Twitter or Instagram, of people just posting why they love JustFab and ultimately, again, driving more traffic to their site. So another really awesome example of this is a company called UPad. And what they do is they basically connect landlords with renters. So think like Airbnb, but for longer-term renting arrangements. And what they did was they collected reviews with Trustpilot, and they put these throughout multiple marketing channels. An ad here shows just an example of that. And what it did was it drove a 10% increase in conversion rates. And they also started to do a survey afterwards, too, to figure out how people were finding out about them. And they said that 60% of new customers ended up reading a Trustpilot review before using the service. So that's what actually encouraged them to start to put reviews on their website and their different advertising, and just make sure that they were anywhere where people were looking for information about them. And I think this is also a pretty awesome quote above. I won't necessarily read that off, but they've said that they've heard a lot of great things from their landlords and different people coming in talking about how they've either read a review on Trustpilot or been just referred from a friend, and that's how they found out about them. So it's a pretty awesome story there. Great. So now we'll take a look at just who is Trustpilot in case you're not familiar with us. And who we are is that we are 2 things. First, we're a review platform that's intended for consumers to come to Trustpilot, learn about a brand before they make a purchase so they can ultimately purchase with confidence. And we also share experiences that build trust and transparency between consumers and businesses. And for businesses, we're also a SaaS platform, so we help you collect reviews in a proactive manner, not just waiting for reviews to come show up about you on Trustpilot.com, and also leverage these reviews on your website, in your email, and your ads, just like how we showed in some of the different images previously.
Yeah, that's a great description. Our primary goal as Trustpilot is really to help your business grow online, and that's through collecting reviews. You've seen throughout this presentation why customer feedback and engagement is really important, and that's really from a tested and proven state. So we help you collect reviews and then use them to improve your conversion rate. We help you create a community, start working on a customer advocacy strategy, get loyal customers, brand advocates, lower your bounce rate, increase your traffic. We have a number of different clients for whom reviews have really proven to just kind of surpass expectations on their campaigns from an ROI perspective, from a PPC perspective, or even just increasing their revenue by increasing sales using reviews on their website or on their product pages or on their landing pages.
Cool, yeah. And just as we've been saying, you should let your customers kind of do the selling for you. And we wanted to also incorporate some reviews about Trustpilot ourselves on here. So you can check them out from one of our customers at Rivervale, at HomeLogic, and Safer VPN. And again, we'll share the spec afterwards, so you're welcome to check them out on your own time later. And I think that wraps it up for us. I think we ended a little bit early, so we have some time for questions. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope you found this information valuable. And just to repeat what Jen was saying earlier, we will send out a recording and a slide share afterwards so that you can take a look at this. And if you have any further questions that you didn't, once you take a look at that content, feel free to contact us at events@trustpilot.com. Great, so we'll take a look at some questions now. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in, and we'll get to them as we can. Cool, so our first question is actually about Staples. So how exactly did they get those reviews on their Facebook page and on their website? Is it something that they kind of did custom, or how does that work? So the answer to that question is that on the Facebook tab, actually, it's super easy to integrate. Trustpilot has that Facebook integration. So it's super simple to get those on there. And it just takes a matter of minutes. We can show you how to do that kind of one-on-one later. And for implementing reviews on your website, Staples actually used a trust box or a custom Trustpilot widget, which is just copying and pasting code, putting it on your website. And what's really awesome about it is they're dynamic. So these reviews are constantly being updated anytime someone comes to look at their page, just providing that extra credibility that these are real reviews and not just like copied and pasted onto the website, which you might see that sometimes when you're putting customer quotes on there. So we make it really easy to put those on there, but if you're not using Trustpilot, we're happy to have a conversation about how you can start to do it outside of Trustpilot, potentially with Trustpilot, but hope that helps.
We have another question. What about business-to-business type companies? That's a great question. I know most of our examples have been business-to-consumer websites, but business-to-business companies can really leverage and benefit from customer advocacy. The only difference is that they would utilize it in a different way. They don't have kind of the advantage of many clients posting on them on social media, but that's where things like case studies and testimonials really drive performance. And we did a webinar a couple of months ago on kind of some of the key elements that drive landing page performance, landing pages being one of the primary ways that business-to-business companies sell their product and service. And using testimonials, whether that's just having company logos or an actual review or an actual case study excerpt on their landing page, has been proven to improve conversion rates. So that's a way a business-to-business company can really leverage their customers as marketers.
Great. Okay, so our next question is from Brittany. She's asking, to obtain reviews from past customers, what is the best way to entice them to take the time and effort to write one? And that's a really good question. We get this question all the time, actually. But the first way that we typically suggest is we allow you to, if you're working with Trustpilot, to send out a batch of kickstarts and make it just really easy to leave the review by actually leaving, just like clicking on one link, pressing in the number of stars, and putting just like an open text field in there. And we see that just asking for a review versus asking like a survey questions or multiple questions about the product sees a much higher response rate. And it typically works if you do this and send out a reminder email as well for customers within the past 3 months. Sometimes it can work for the past 6 months, depending on what the product is and how memorable of a purchase that was. But once you are going back, customers that are maybe older than 3 months or 6 months, it might be too long. It might not. You might not get a very good quality review too, even if they were to leave one, because it might just not be a memorable experience. But another option too to throw out there is, we don't always recommend this, but it's potentially an option, is if you do, try not to incentivize reviews, but if you're going to do that, offer it to everyone that you're asking the review from. So not just people that leave a positive review or presenting that offer after the reviews come in. If you're going to do it, the fair way to do it is to say, like, if you leave a review about us, we'll make sure that we give you 10% on your next purchase, or whatever it might be. And make sure you follow through with that too. Otherwise, you're probably not going to see a ton of positive feedback on other social media channels, or again, they can always update those reviews as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point Lauren made. We've talked about trust, transparency, and the reputation of a brand, and we take that very seriously. We believe that great companies should be rewarded. So that's kind of our policy on that. We have another question from Phil. Which review platform do reviews collected by Trustpilot go out on? So actually, we're a company that faces both consumers and businesses. For businesses, we offer this platform that allows you to collect reviews from customers and then display them on anywhere from emails to your landing pages, your sites, even email signatures, which is something new that we recently launched. But we're also consumer facing, and that is really important to us as a company. If you go on trustpilot.com, you can see people leaving reviews in real time. We have over 160,000 businesses reviewed on Trustpilot, and about 72 million visitors just going to Trustpilot and trusting our site to make their decision on whether or not they either make a purchase from a company or decide to use a company for any kind of service that they're offering.
Yeah, great. The next question we have is from Bill. He said the topic makes a lot of sense, so thank you, Bill. And he wanted to know, how would you go about implementing it for a company like his, which is a vacation rental property, and what we would charge for it. So for vacation rental properties, reviews make a ton of sense, because this is an experience that someone's having that is really important to them. A lot of people might only be taking 1, maybe 2 vacations a year, and it's something they might be saving up for and they're going to remember for a while. So it's a great idea to ask for reviews. Probably when they get back from the vacation, it's a great time to do it. And if you speak with someone at Trustpilot, your customer success rep, if you're working with us, we can help you figure out when is the right time to do it. Should it be post-purchase, when they purchase the vacation package, or purchase the rental, or should it be afterwards? And we'll help you find the best time. But my thoughts would be, it's probably best to ask whenever after the rental agreement and after their vacation. You'll probably see really popular, positive reviews. These reviews are great to share on social media too, and good to encourage your customers to share on social media. They can upload pictures, and it can just drive a lot of great social engagement. And ultimately, this could turn into some great customer advocates for you too, if you start to identify which ones are your top 5-star reviews that are really long, great quality, and they're very passionate about the experience they had with you. So I think it's a great fit, and there's a lot of great things you could do with reviews, and I think we could definitely talk one-on-one to help you figure out which Trustpilot package would be the right one for you, and how to go about collecting and leveraging those reviews.
Great. We have another question from Louis Ramsden. I work at a company that sells window blinds online. We have tried to get our customers to send in images of their blinds fitted in their home, but even with an offer of free home furnishings, we receive very low responses. What are we doing wrong? What I'd say is that I would take a look at how exactly you're asking these customers to provide these images. As you saw from our examples, a lot of them were taking advantage of actions that people were already taking, which were posting on social media. So I think if you're asking them to send in images, maybe via email or something like that, you might get a little more lower of an engagement, just because that's kind of taking an additional action than if they were to post that image online or something. And I think that also goes hand in hand with the fact that even though you're offering them free home furnishings, part of the allure of these social media campaigns is that they will be seen by other people. I know Box.com, which is a huge kind of online wholesaler, does a regular competition where they say, you know, show us your most recent box, post it on Instagram with a hashtag, and we'll choose a winner every week. And that's garnered a lot of engagement and a lot of really good results, mostly because, one, they're taking advantage of something that a customer is already doing, which is posting on Instagram, and also they're promising not only an incentive, kind of like a winner award kind of thing, but also saying, we're going to show you to the rest of the world. So maybe what I would say, Lewis, is play with different incentives, play with different means of getting that image in, and you might see some engagement. Something that we always kind of advise for companies to do is always test different kind of strategies and just to optimize whatever it is you're doing and making sure that you are making the most out of any of your initiatives.
Great. And one other comment from Bill, he was also making a note that they're also looking to drive more, I guess, customers that are owners than guests. And so I think that YouPad example is a really good example of that too. So even if you're not necessarily consumer facing and trying to drive consumer advocates, and you're trying to drive maybe people to rent out their business or businesses, we've talked about that too. YouPad's a really good example of how they've also been able to make customer advocates out of their reviewers to ultimately drive more referrals and drive more people to rent out their properties as well, because ultimately you're still selling to people, and they're still going to care about the experience of others and probably look on social media and on Trustpilot before deciding whether or not to work with you. We can clear that one up a little bit more later, but just wanted to make that distinction as well.
We have another question from Chris. How safe are my customers' email addresses with you? I'd say very safe. We integrate very well with any kind of e-commerce platform that you're using, especially Magento. We actually recently rolled out a new feature called business-generated links that was primarily for healthcare and financial companies to keep any kind of personal information or personally identifiable information, PII data, safe, and that actually is in compliance with the highest regulations for these finance and healthcare companies. So you can be assured that we take privacy and data protection very seriously, especially because we're a global company. And there are a lot of much more stricter data privacy laws in Europe that we're also adhering to. So it's something you can definitely be assured of.
Great. All right. I think that's it for our questions today, and we are a little bit over 30 minutes. So thank you to everyone who stuck around and listened to the Q&A. We hope you've found this enjoyable and you've learned something from it. And if you have any other questions you think of later, feel free to reach out to us. And we'll also be in touch with you guys individually too to make sure that everyone who's asked questions, we still send you an answer via email as well. So thanks so much. Sorry. Oh, and also, sorry, Jen is just letting me know, we're also, after the webinar, going to have a questionnaire pop up. So if you can just take a few more minutes to fill that out, that would be really helpful for us. We'd love to hear your feedback on how you think today's webinar went. So thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Great. Thank you, everybody.